So I'm not really sure where to begin. I listen to these radio guys and see if you can talk to yourself for 3 hours and make some kind of sense. Then pretty much got it made as far as a radio career. But you know, country's going to hell in a handbasket, and these last 8 years have been somewhere near treacherous. And I wrote down here about 3 or 4 years ago, just before President Obama's second term, where it became quite obvious to me that um, he was out to make us, or make the U.S. a third world country, trying to break the bank, bring the U.S. to its knees financially, and that's how I wrote it. Um, and of course, now it's blatantly obvious he's a Islamic sympathizer. Um, he won't do anything to disrupt the Muslim community, whether it's here in the US or overseas. It wasn't until France and Russia bombed key strategic targets in the Middle East before, he jumped in like he was going to be the hero. And oh yeah, we're gonna bomb them, and everybody else has to step up. Well, he wants to lead from behind in this case, only because he's a Muslim sympathizer. He doesn't want to be the lead in that, and be on their blacklist. It's just so frustrating, as somebody who was brought up with so many morals and values, and you know the USA, red, white, and blue. I mean, that's all in my blood, and I just don't. It's hard. It's really, really hard to see someone in the White House doing what he's doing, and being from my background. Now, I consider myself a Christian, and I'll tell you what, there ain't nothing Christian about this president whatsoever. He'd just as soon, target, put a scope on one of us, as much as the terrorists do today. And that's just how I feel. It's just I don't see any other way around that. Um, say what you will. And a lot of you out there can't tell me, after voting for him, that you regret voting for him. He has done nothing but divide this country from Christians, between Muslims, Christians, blacks, whites, cops, law enforcement, non law enforcement. I mean, he's put such a border between all of us that now we're all ready to go at each other's throats. And it's just not right. You got people in the in on these college campuses. You know, the students are rioting and protesting and doing all kinds of, you know, crazy stuff. And while they might know what they're protesting for or about, they don't know what they want out of it. Like somebody's going to come to their rescue. Trust me, nobody's coming to your rescue. If you didn't do it for yourself, it's not going to get done. I was always brought up under the assumption that if you had a problem and you didn't have a solution for it, you are the problem. Plain and simple. Because part of the KISS rule is, you know, if you have a problem, instead of whining and crying about the problem and waiting for somebody to solve it for you, why don't you sit back and solve it for yourself? You know, come up with a solution for the problem. And then you're no longer a part of the problem. You're a part of the solution. It just blows my mind how many people out there are just waiting for somebody to come to their rescue. There's a whole, you know, there's generations of people who have been on welfare and they don't know how to get off of it because nobody taught them how to solve a problem and just bring themselves out of the predicament that they're in. Instead, you know, there must be someone else that's got a handout that I can tap into. No, it's not going to happen. While I'm a generous person, if I have money, then I'm more than willing to give you a piece of it if I see you're in trouble. If I don't have it, I just work harder to get it. And problem these days is, you know, we brought up our children to have better than what we had, and not so much that they didn't have to work for it, but so they would still know the struggle, but not have it as hard to obtain the things that we already had, plus that, you know. And now we brought up, I don't know, somewhere along the line we went wrong. We just went wrong. We brought up our children to have something better than what we had, and now we're paying for it. Now we've got at least two generations that feel they're entitled. They're entitled to something that they didn't contribute to. And I mean, how do you reverse that? How do you reverse that unless you bring them back to God? I said it years ago. They took God out of schools. They took the flag out of schools. And it all started going to hell in a handbasket. Now you can't even say God in school. I'm surprised they haven't abolished OMG. And the only reason that probably hasn't happened is because you can substitute it for oh my goodness instead of oh my God. It's a different world out there, way different, and we really need to wake up. I there's so many thoughts that go through my head. I can't even spit them out as fast as they go through my head. There was so much that I wanted to say, and now I can't even think to say it. I don't know how to put it into words. How do you explain to people? I don't want people to think the way I think or do what I do, or I don't. We're all different, and that's what makes us exceptional, is that we are all different, and that we all have different thoughts and different ideas. And a lot of times those different thoughts and those different ideas come together, and we come up with a plan. And that was how the Constitution was even developed. There was all these ideas and all these thoughts. I mean, look at all the people who signed it. Now, take all the people who signed the Constitution, and you can probably multiply that tenfold of all the people who had input or influence or an idea that went into how it was written, and the way it was written, and you know because they weren't just writing it for the day, they were writing it for the future, and they knew that. So in knowing that, we've made our amendments to it, to accommodate the way of life the way it is at the given time that it needed to be amended or whatever. But you got to go back to the core values, the core reality, and think about what it is they were trying to say. And I'm not, the left interprets it so, in one way, and you you know it can't. I hear some of the interpretations of what the left wants to, or how they want to interpret it. But I mean, look at let's go with the freedom of speech. That is so much in trouble right now. It's not even funny. Not even funny. We got kids in college. Well, we should abolish the First Amendment and get away. Do away with the First Amendment. Of course, unless it's something we want to hear. Um, and how do today? I mean, how do you know what they want to hear? Because I'll tell you what, I hear what they don't want to hear, and I'm like, really? You got to be out of your mind. Out of your mind. There's no two ways about it. Craziness. Just absolute craziness. You can't. This whole Black Lives Matter thing is just out of control. out of control. But this is part of Obama's, I'm sorry, Resident Oblablah's um, rhetoric. This is how he divides the country. See, not only does he want to break the bank, put this country into debt so far that it can't ever get out of it, which he's pretty much done. But if he divides the country and starts a revolution, because I could see, there's the makings of a revolutionary war going on right now, right now, and the right now it's the cops. They're the ones in the line of fire right now, and Oblabla is like he's not doing anything to deter anybody from doing anything. And if those cops go away and there's lawlessness in the streets, which is pretty much where this is going, I there's going to be trouble. That's all there is to it. It's just downright wrong that the cops are in the line of fire from the get-go. I mean, we already saw it in Baltimore where pretty much the cops stood back. They don't have any backup. They don't have any nobody's there to back them up. They have to have cameras on them now to say what it is they did or didn't do, and as far as I'm concerned, that's a war on cops. And I'm not saying that there aren't some bad cops out there, because there's plenty of them, but the good ones are even more plentiful. And if somebody told me you're on your own, if you think I'm gonna throw myself in the middle of a hornet's nest, then you're out of your mind. If I was a cop today, I'd get in my cruiser at the beginning of my shift. I'd find a nice, cozy little corner to hide in, do my 8 hours, and then scoot right back into the precinct. Hey, boss, how you doing? Yeah, everything was good today. Yeah, I think I wrote one speeding ticket. It's just craziness. Craziness. But I'd find a corner to hide in, and people want to go out and beat each other up and shoot at each other. Give me a call when it's all over. I'll come by and take pictures and investigate. I'll deal with it later. But if you think I'm going in the middle of a hornet's nest so somebody can video me in the heat of passion, and I gotta sit there and wonder whether or not I'm doing the right thing, or hell no. No, it's not gonna happen. I just wanted to put this all on video to I don't know, I guess to solidify and let people know, you know, what's going on, because it seems like, you know, not enough people are informed. There's so many people out there that, you know, they go home and they turn on the TV and listen to the news, and mainstream media is going to twist up whatever story they got going on, and make it so you know, you hear what they want you to hear, and they're just it's it, if you're listening to Channel 6 News, you know, at the end of your workday, and taking that stuff as gospel, you're underinformed, misinformed, um, because they put whatever twist they wanted on it, and that's what you hear. And I hear so many people come to me, hey, did you hear about this, that, and the other thing, blah blah blah, and, you know, and I can tell that they're telling me the story from the sound bites that they heard off of TV, and that's basically what they're repeating, is the little sound bites, and that's what they get in their head. And once it's in their head, it's pretty much gospel. You know, they you know, that's what they know. That's what they've heard. That's what they know, and it's because it was on TV. It must be true. But they don't have all the facts. None. If you were listening to the evening news, odds are you were misinformed, underinformed, not know, not knowing the facts from, you know. I mean, I'm a believer of listen to both sides, three sides, if that's what it is, you know, and then figure it out from there. It's like a car accident. You get two cars involved in a car accident. Each one tells a different story because they don't want to be at fault. They, you know, and so there's a little, you know, little half truths and spins on the story, and, you know, no, he hit me, no, he hit me, blah blah blah, you know. And when you heard all the information, and then you take all the physical information into consideration, now you got to say to yourself, somebody's lying, somebody's not telling the truth, somebody's stretching the truth, or giving a half truth, or just out and out lying. And for that reason, and not to mention that, you know, mainstream media is biased as bias can get. I mean, they are all for, you know, the Democratic Party, for one. You know, they're about as left can get, and you know, I you can't tell me that the White House doesn't call the mainstream media and said, you know, hey, play it this way, and that way there we don't look so bad. And you know, if you know the facts, bad is bad. I don't care how you look at it. It's, with this administration, you if you take in all the facts and deduce for yourself that, you know, what's going on, you got to see that